Statements. Senator Judge Cayetano. Alan.
I'd like to thank the presiding officer for prudence, for wisdom in trying to resolve this issue. And I do understand that we are 24 people, all elected by the people, all wanting justice, all wanting a fair trial. Having said that, prudence dictates that we stop ourselves from asking certain questions that can prejudice the whole trial, whether or not our intention is to do so. So the problem is well stated by the presiding officer that if we simply delete from the record, mapapanood nyo na rin naman sa YouTube yung magandang discussion ng prosecution. So, on one sense, it is fair to give the defense a chance to answer. But on another sense, it's unfair. Why? Because whoever phrases the question, lamang na eh. Kasi yung question nga is, why is this an impeachable offense? So for example, if I was the one who stood up yesterday and I asked the prosecution, why is this a political vendetta? And why is the House not investigating the flood control instead of investigating the Vice President? That would be unfair. That would be unfair to the House. That would be unfair to everyone. So simply giving the prosecution the chance to answer that question I asked would be unfair to everyone. So I do not know the solution. I accept the solution of the presiding officer. Now let's not tolerate any more questions like that. I agree with Senator Pia. I don't like being called out. But that's the role of the presiding officer and the Senate President. No? So sana yun lang, no, na one, when we ask the questions, we'll make sure it doesn't prejudice the whole trial. Whatever we say here, may ma-accuse na lawyering for the prosecution or defense. Okay lang yun. Okay lang yun. Sa prayer nga kahapon, di ba? Basta't justice, bahala na magalit. Okay. But my last point, Mr. President, let's give the defense a little latitude in not only answering that question, but what you want to say. Because nga, the question is unfair. So if you're simply going to answer that question, then it won't solve the problem na nakapagsalita sila 5 minutes kayo nakapagsalita. So we'll consider, personally, I'll consider the very eloquent answer yesterday as a sort of a closing. So same, personally lang, Mr. Presiding Officer, give the latitude to the defense na parang closing din, whatever. Because they have affirmative defenses. And they did not push us to hear that. They went straight to trial. So dun din sa mga nagsasabi na delay sa dami ng objection, that's unfair. No? Let's give everyone latitude here. The same thing, I think, may konting ano sa internet na photocopies are not original and the counsel was simply citing, tama ba? A Supreme Court decision, no?
And the rules of court.
And the rules of court. So I'm just saying it's an emotional issue. So all of us will be hit, badgered, whatever. I think trabaho naman nung witness natin, bantayan yung internet. So as long as hindi foul, hindi threat. But having said that, Mr. President, let's give each other leeway, but only to the point that the trial will not disintegrate, di ba, into a political fiasco or circus. Thank you, Mr. President.
The remarks of Senator Judge Alan Cayetano are noted. Senator Judge Pia Cayetano.
Thank you, Mr. President. This will be brief. First of all, I'd just like to confirm that I acknowledge what the presiding officer said, that I agreed. Basically, I'm withdrawing my motion in the interest of fairness, because the delivery of justice is about fairness. So kung nakapagsalita nga ang prosecution with their closing statement, di pwede rin dapat mag-closing statement ang defense, no? So I am amenable to that. But very, very, very briefly, Mr. President, I'd like to put on record, why are we being strict about the rules? Why do I have to bother standing up? Well, because nothing in this world will run well without the rules. Now, my colleagues, the Senate is a basketball-loving Senate. Dami dito, hilig mag-basketball. Kung ako volleyball player, colleagues ko Basketball. I'll use basketball as an example. Will you have a decent basketball game if there's no rules? No, there's rules. That's why we stand up. And then sometimes there are also opportunities to question the rules. That's also fine. But that's why we have to stand up and call the attention of the presiding officer when we feel that the rules are being violated. And we will continue to do so when we believe it is necessary in the interest of justice. Thank you, Mr. President.
The remarks of the lady are noted. Since we are discussing housekeeping chores and matters, let the presiding officer continue with the same. The presiding officer will call for a break midway through in order to afford the parties 15 minutes to relax, go over their notes, and do their thing. In regard to senator judges or counsels for the parties who are not on deck, you're free to answer the call of nature in the least disruptive manner possible and return afterwards outside of the 15 minutes that we will be doing halfway through the proceedings. And finally, a request has been brought to the presiding officer to request as well the senator judges to lower the tone of conversational voices because I think where you're seated is an echo chamber. Naririnig sa iba't ibang sulok ng plenaryong ito yung mga sinasabi din ninyo at hindi rin nakakapag-concentrate yung ilan sa ating mga kasama na nakaupo sa paligiran ninyo. Just a reminder, and for one last reminder before I recognize counsel for the respondent, Mr. Calilong, you will be testifying once again and will be undergoing cross-examination under the same oath
Yes, Your
that you
Honor.
took yesterday. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel for respondent, Attorney Narvasa. If you are ready, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
Your Honor, may I be allowed to approach a witness?
You may do so.
Thank you, Your
counsel.
Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Calilong.
Good afternoon, sir.
During your direct examination, you testified that you were trained on photo and video authentication.
Yes, sir.
You said that you were trained for 2 weeks?
Specific for photo and video, sir.
Sir, my questions are answerable by yes or a no. Can you
Yes, sir.
please constrain yourself to these questions, unless I tell you, okay?
Objection to that, Your Honor, please.
And you got this
Your
training
Honor,
from...
objection to that. I have to
Before
make an
counsel for
objection.
respondent proceeds, counsel for the prosecutor to let the presiding officer
Your Honor.
recognize you first. You are so recognized, sir. What is your objection?
Thank you so much. Inasmuch as I would like to accommodate the defense that in asking the question that the witness is to be limited to a yes or no question, Your Honor, please. Unfortunately,